Hey man, I saw it.
Tonight show, and that's my jam. The one and only Jimmy Fallon.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon. Welcome aboard the world-famous studio tour. I know what you're thinking. Why the tux? Well, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. That's right, 60 years of glitz, glamour, and our own great white shark. As we celebrate our diamond anniversary today, we'll pay tribute to Universal's past and take you behind the scenes to discover why this studio tour is world famous. So whether this is your first visit or your 60th, get ready for fun, excitement, and an experience like no other.
So on July 15th of this year, here at the studio tour, we celebrated our 60th anniversary. So we're definitely going to get some tour history sprinkled into this tour today. But before we can talk about the last 60 years of the tour, we kind of have to go back to March 15th, 1915. That is when our founder, Carl Laemmle, invited the public into the studio to watch silent movies being made. At the time, guests were able to walk from set to set and marvel at the new technology involved in filmmaking. But with the invention of sound and the need for quiet on set, the original walking tour ended. Fast forward to the 60s, under the leadership of company chairman Lou Wasserman and executives Al Dorskin and Jay Stein, the idea of reviving a tour of the lot returned when the Grey Line bus tours, originating in Hollywood, made a stop at our gates. Then on July 15, 1964, that is when the first of our red and white candy striped glamour trams took 67 passengers on a tour around the lot, 2 hours at a time. And that is when the world famous Universal Studios tour was born. We started with 2 tour guides, 2 drivers, and 1 ticket seller working out of a trailer on Lake Ocean Boulevard. From there, we were able to expand into quite a bit. Theme parks around the world, entertaining millions of guests every year. That's what essentially launched Universal Parks, Destinations, Resorts, and Experiences. So if you've been able to go to any of our international locations, well, guess what? We were first here at the tour. We were what launched it all. Now, we are officially here on the lot. And like I said, we do have quite a bit of production happening today. If for any reason I see a red light flashing outside of our soundstage doors, or if the red light is turned on, or if I see a security guard with an orange flag trying to get my attention, that is my direct cue for production to stop talking because they can hear me. So if I'm suddenly not speaking and then you see this appear on your screens, that means that someone or something has told me to get off the microphone. Cool? We'll see what happens. If you guys see a celebrity, let me know. I will do everything I can to get them to come over to say hello. Okay? I used to work for TMZ, so I have no shame when it comes to stuff like that. If you see someone, you tell me, okay? So, to your left-hand side, we're seeing sound stages 11 through 7. Very busy today, full of production. At the end of the day, sound stages really are just warehouses that are right around 95 to 98% soundproof. You've got catering set up, a little bit of craft services. It's usually how you're going to start your day for production. Now, as we round the corner, we're seeing these trailers here. These trailers closest to us on the left-hand side are full of costume pieces, hair and makeup accessories for a show by the name of Hacks. So Hacks has been filming here on the lot since their season 2, and we love to see it. We have an array of different genres that have been filming here over the last couple of months, focusing quite a bit lately on comedies. We've been seeing a lot of comedies filming on the lot, and Hacks is definitely a situational comedy. It's kind of show. Super fun. Now, again, to your left-hand side, soundstage 14 is where we've been seeing a lot of production for this particular show, again called Hacks, and this is one of our larger sound stages. Usually when production needs soundstage 14, it's usually because they want to film some sort of water scene. We do have a cement basin in that stage. Being one of our larger stages, we were able to create a basin, so we can fill the basin up with water. And then we surround that basin with either a green screen or a blue screen to make it seem like a lake, ocean, whatever is needed. It's a nice controlled environment for that. On the right-hand side, we're seeing sound stages 16, 17, 18, and 19. For many years, these stages were all home to a show called Never Have I Ever, which is a Universal Television-produced show, streams on Netflix, still available to stream on Netflix, and was created by Mindy Kaling. So if you ever got the chance to watch the show and you saw Davey, the main character, walking around the classrooms or sitting in the cafeteria having lunch with their friends. Those interior scenes were what was built within the walls of these particular stages. That's the difference between filming within the walls of a soundstage versus our backlot, is if the script specifies if it's interior or exterior. If it says interior, classroom, morning, we're going to build it within the walls of a soundstage. If it says exterior, busy Manhattan Street, we're going to build that in our backlot. So, coming up on the left-hand side, we're seeing some of these production bungalows. Really, these used to be dressing rooms to some of the biggest stars of our time, like Rock Hudson, Jimmy Stewart, even at one point Miss Lucille Ball and Doris Day. But now they're offices to some pretty major casting directors, writers, producers, and directors. So, because our clientele is really high profile, I'm no longer allowed to point out who's in which office space, so sorry about that, Dwayne, but keep your eyes peeled at some of the parking spaces, because you're going to probably see some names that are very recognizable, whether it's actors, producers, writers, or directors. So we've had the honor of working with some pretty amazing production companies like Mark Platt Productions. They're producing Wicked. So if you happen to catch maybe a glimpse of a Wicked balloon to your left-hand side in front of an office space, that may or may not be where they're located, but Wicked releases in theaters this month after years of anticipating, waiting for it. So it's been super exciting. In fact, I'm going to pass it over quickly to the director of Wicked, John M. Chu, to give us some insight into the magic that is this movie.
Hey, Studio Tour. You're seeing a lot of behind-the-scenes movie-making magic today, showing you up close how filmmakers, like me, bring our dreams to the big screen. After your tour, the magic of Wicked continues at Universal Studios Hollywood, where you can experience photo ops, props, and costumes from the film, and fun bites and drinks from Shiz and Emerald City. But first, here's a look at Wicked.
Come with me to meet the wizard. I couldn't possibly. This is your moment. I'm coming.
If you think that's something to see, maybe see this. You're good.
Very good.
Wicked, rated PG.
Don't miss Wicked, only in theaters, including our very own Universal Cinema on City Walk, beginning November 22nd. So, Wicked is going to have a lot of great practical.
You're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand, because we're about to return to Skull Island. The Universal tram is winding its way through a very rough dirt trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife in Skull Island.
40 feet tall, 180 feet long. And if you guys thought that was scary, I just want you to know that it does get worse. But we'll cross that bridge together when we get there, because that was amazing. Peter Jackson, genius, absolutely. Genius, but he did not do this alone. He works with this incredible team. They're based out of New Zealand. They go by the name of Weta FX now. But when they were working on this project with us, and when we put together this montage, they were known as Weta Digital. Same team, just a recent company name change. They actually have 7 Oscars for their work on Avatar, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Planet of the Apes, The Hobbit, The Jungle Book, King Kong, and now for Avatar, The Way of Water. This is actually a little moment right here, giving you an idea as to what the ride track looks like, giving you an overhead view of the building that we were just in. Again, those screens are 40 feet tall, 180 feet long, and essentially every car locks onto the ride track through these sets of rollers, and each car has its own individual ride movement. So car one's experience is going to be different than car 4's, so on and so forth.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead. They're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. And this tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
So to your left-hand side, we're seeing a little bit of our metropolitan section. Again, busy with production, most likely for a show called St. Denis Medical, which is now officially on NBC. It's a medical comedy starring David Alan Grier, but we are always experiencing some sort of production in the metropolitan section. This is just the first 4 acres of our lot where the buildings are all over 50 feet tall, to give us the illusion that we're looking at skyscrapers, but at the end of the day, these are just facades, the fronts inside the buildings. We're mostly seeing a little bit of New York Street here on your left-hand side. This is the end of New York Street. New York Street comes equipped with its own Broadway theater district, its own Waldorf Astoria, and it can be transformed into Chicago today, maybe even into downtown Los Angeles tomorrow. It has a lot of versatility, even though we did mainly model it after truly Manhattan. Now, also on your left-hand side, we're seeing sound stages 30 through 33, and 30 is currently decorated with the Voice emblem. That's because that's one of their sound stages that they film out of. They mostly film out of sound stage 31, though. When it comes to the coaches and their swivel chairs, we love to see the Voice in production, especially when they bring new coaches that bring an entirely different vibe to each season.
Hey, studio tour. It's your boy Snoop Dogg. Did you know that the Universal Backlot is home of The Voice? That's right. We tape right here on Stage 31. Don't miss our incredible new season every Monday and Tuesday on NBC. Now that you've heard the rest, you can have the best. We can be with the S and have this on your chest.
Snoop joins The Voice Monday, September 23rd on NBC and Peacock.
Okay, guys, check in with yourselves. I know we've had a few moments away from King Kong 360 3D at this point, but keep in mind that that is your first of 2 motion simulators on the tour. So if you don't think you can hang with any more sudden tram movements, fire effects, strobe lights, fog effects, then it's all good. If you need to be off of this tram for any reason, because you dropped an item, can't wait to use the restroom, that is fine. Just pull down on the red cord and we will figure it out. We will go from there. But just keep in mind that we do have quite a bit to experience between King Kong 360 3D and by the time we get to Fast and Furious Supercharged, which is the grand finale. As of right now, we're going to go check out Soundstage 50. It is the only soundstage that allows trams to actually drive through. In the front lot, when we're pointing out all these sound stages, it's a little difficult to describe the cast and crew to show up, and voila, we can start filming pretty much within the next 30 minutes to an hour. Now, please hold on to all your belongings in here, guys. The floor is not a floor, it is just a suggestion. If you are to drop anything in this stage, I am not allowed to get out of the tram to retrieve it. We have to physically leave the stage and we'll get an item description. And this is the reason why. This soundstage has full effects ready to go. So hold on to somewhere or something and all of your stuff. I seriously, it's going to be fine. We're fine. The only thing we have to be concerned about is the fact that We gave it an entirely new look. We updated everything, updated the props, the movie magic equipment, changed the color scheme, and even changed a little bit of the movement. We used to say, oh, that was an 8.3 on the Richter scale. Now it's Earthquake, the big one. We did work with a seismologist to make it feel as accurate and as authentic as possible to what the big one could possibly be. So it's pretty intense, but we love to have it as a part of the tour. The next stop, though, this is actually something that's been a part of the tour for quite some time as well. It was co-created by Steven Spielberg, and it's based on his most successful, most popular movie, Jaws. Now, the town in this film goes by the name of Amity, and that's what we tried to recreate here on the lot. Thankfully, our version of Amity is much safer than Steven Spielberg's version. We even got a police diver monitoring the waters every single day. Now, the thing about George, our police diver, is that his favorite movie of all time is Jaws. He said that's what led him to become a police diver. That math isn't really mathing for me, but we don't judge George. When we bring the trams through, he puts together like a little reenactment of a scene from the movie. So let's see how George does today.
Size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, consistently, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1974.
Absolutely. If our shark stops working for any reason, we have a team on standby that will be here in a few moments to begin to fix it. Not quite the luxury that Steven Spielberg had. It stopped working 2 weeks into production because the salt water rusted away the mechanical shark. That's why a lot of the scenes in Jaws, you don't really actually see the shark. The camera gets closer and closer, and right when we should see the shark attack, we cut to the surface, we cut to a different scene completely, because the shark just wasn't cooperating with Steven Spielberg. Here on the lot, though, we have control of pretty much everything, and that includes the weather. So I'm going to pass it over quickly to weather expert, and essentially the weather anchor and co-host of the Today Show, the one and only Al Roker.
Time for my favorite part of the tour, weather. When it comes to film and TV, it is truly a special effect. In fact, to demonstrate how weather effects are created, we debuted our first major attraction here on the studio tour way back in 1968.
So here in Old Mexico, we like to show you guys how we create rain. It's fairly simple. We stagger the placement of these sprinkler systems, and we send water up through overhead sprinkler systems and let it fall down to the ground naturally. A production was filming right now. this would be enough. We're working with natural light, we can see the rain clearly, but if this was the evening, we would have to add about 30 extra sprinkler systems. The more water on screen, the easier it is to see. But what's really going to save the visibility is adding powdered milk into the water. I know it's weird, but it works. It gives it a pop. It acts as a tint. What's not milk is that flash flood, guys. Look, it's going right for cars 3 and 4. Does anyone have a poncho back there? Maybe they're trying to scoot in. You guys scoot. Yay. Listen, I don't know how bad it's going to be if your cars went into it. Maybe just... I mean, oh no, you guys, okay? Just a little water. You're fine. That's just the beginning of the water effects, okay? I'm just saying. There's many more to go. I'm going to show you what this all looks like well, actually before that, keep in mind, Old Mexico has been seen in 3 Amigos starring Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. If you're a fan of Lady Gaga and you saw her music video for her song Judas, she filmed all of it pretty much here in Old Mexico. Specifically, the choreography took place to your left-hand side. But I would say Old Mexico is mostly famous because of Big Fat Liar starring Craig and Winnie as Amanda Bynes and Paul Giamatti.
You cannot run the wolf, kid! Yeah, we'll see about that. Hang on, funny folks!
And now we're here in 6 Ones, our beautiful Western set that has been featured in hundreds of the classic cowboy films starring the legends like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, Kirk Douglas, Clint Eastwood. Now I would say that this is mostly popular these days because of a movie called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This film, it was written, produced, and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie, amongst others, but those are the 3 leads in the film. Margot had all of her scenes to film around the greater Los Angeles area, and some really cool landmark locations that we all can Google and then go check out. But Brad and Leo spent about 3 months here together on this set for 6 days a week, most weeks. Everything here in 6 Points makes an appearance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for almost 40 minutes of screen time. So if you haven't gotten the chance to check it out, put that on the watch list immediately. Now, in regards to what we're seeing in real time versus the way that it looks in the movie, it's the same. I would say that there's 2 major differences. First one, they covered all of the ground in dirt. Regardless of the production, that's step number 1 to filming here in 6 Points, covering the ground with dirt. Now, Quentin Tarantino also had his team place banners on top of every door to make this look like you really could walk into any of these establishments, and maybe there could be a saloon through the door. Maybe there could be a dressmaker shop, but for the most part, we're looking at facades, truly just the fronts and sides of buildings. Not much going on past the doors here in 6 Points. So, again, if you haven't gotten the chance to check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, put that on the watch list immediately. But I will say that before you guys make this movie the family movie night choice, don't, okay? Quentin Tarantino, family friendly, not quite the same category, so proceed with caution for the last 35 minutes of the film if you do choose to make that the family movie night choice. With that said, we just rounded the corner onto Steven Spielberg Drive, and I just want you to know that we're more than halfway through the tour at this point. We're essentially making our way to go check out Fast and Furious Supercharged. We only have 3 more sets to check out, and then we're going to make our way over to the grand finale. We do have to maneuver through a little bit of production through our suburbs, but we should be okay. I may have to jump off the microphone here in a few moments. I'm going to look out for our security guard to tell me yes or no. If not, we'll just keep it moving, but we are going to drive past some production. Can't tell you the name of the show, unfortunately, guys. It's one of those things where we have to keep under wraps, but keep your cameras out. You never know who or what you're going to see, especially as we start to head up the hill. You're going to start to see a security guard on the left-hand side hanging out as of right now. I know she can probably hear me talking, and she's not telling me to get off the microphone, which is good. But we do have production up the hill as well. You're going to see a lot of trucks, a lot of golf carts. We're going to see the end of Colonial Street on the left-hand side. That's where we have most of that production taking place here today. But we're going to be on Steven Spielberg Drive for quite some time. It's going to essentially take us to the end of the tour. Even as we make this turn, we're still on Steven Spielberg Drive. And most of his filmography is with us here at Universal. He credits Universal as being the birthplace of him becoming a filmmaker. He's also the lead consultant for all things Universal, parks, destinations, resorts, and experiences. And that is because of the studio tour.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. This was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world on locations, but most of it was focused in those days in the 60s on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt in my own young way I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
Okay, so as of right now, didn't see anybody telling me to get off the microphone. A lot of commotion happening there. Where you saw all those people standing, where they were all standing under the tents, they're standing on a street called Colonial Street. That's also known as Wisteria Lane from ABC's Desperate Housewives. It's very difficult for production to film there because it's so very recognizable as Wisteria Lane. But if you ever watch Never Have I Ever, that's also Davy's neighborhood from the show. It's also been seen in Casper, the Friendliest Ghost, several music videos, so there's a lot of history there on Colonial Street outside of the Desperate Housewives' tenure of spending quite some time there as well. Also, parents, just a heads up, if you are traveling with any little ones that may be sensitive to spooky things or anything Halloween related, we're still in the process of taking down some of our Halloween decorations here in this part of the lot. We just wrapped Halloween Horror Nights about a week and a half ago, and this whole area was transformed into Blumhouse themed stuff, which is known for its very intense villains. We should be okay in terms of visibility for that, but I'm just giving you a heads up just in case we do see anything that looks a little spooky, okay? So just giving you guys a heads up. So to your left-hand side, we're looking at an extension of our picture car department. This is just a fraction of the vehicles that we've worked with here over the years, but we're grateful to have many of the popular ones back on display, especially Dom's Charger from the Fast franchise, and then Bumblebee from the original Transformers trilogy. So we love to have these cars out. They may not be here for too much longer, so I hope you guys got pictures of them. Once they're pulled for production, there's no telling when we're going to get them back. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. And we are officially here in the spooky part of our lot, especially getting closer and closer to the territory of Norman Bates. On the right hand side, this is the Bates Motel from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Again, still wrapping up some of our Halloween decorations, making the transition into a different holiday spirit. Also, as we head up the hill, on the left-hand side, you're going to see a scale replica of LA's most iconic landmark, the Hollywood sign. Now, while we've been celebrating our 60th anniversary here at the studio tour, the Hollywood sign has been celebrating its centennial year. There's only been one scale replica of the Hollywood sign allowed to be created in history, and that's it. It solely exists here on the Universal lot. So, we're getting closer to this house on the left-hand side, which has been a feature on the studio tour since its launch in 1964. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm so sorry. Norman, don't do this today, please. We're actually fine. We're outside of the spooky season at this point, so we really don't have to do. Okay, we gotta go. Listen, I told you this is the spooky part of a lot, and we're not exactly out of the woods just yet. We have to clear this. This is the crash site from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. To your left, that is a real 747 that was purchased for this film just so they could rip it apart. Steven Spielberg is all about detail, especially when working and collaborating with production designer Rick Carter.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision that Steven had.
When we first began to sit down to talk about War of the World, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep your eyes on me. Listen, listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Okay, I'm closed. Robbie, get in. Get in.
So with the Bates Motel Motel, we paid tribute to Alfred Hitchcock. With the War of the Worlds crash site, we paid tribute to Steven Spielberg. This last set we're going to check out today on the studio tour, we're going to pay tribute to Jordan Peele. This last set goes by the name of Jupiter's Claim. It is all the original pieces brought directly in from the last day of production from Jordan Peele's Nope. Nope stars Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Brandon Perea, and Stephen Young.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Jupe Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? What? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of gold rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO hotspot. Welcome to the world of No.
He's all about giving the subtle hints and letting the audience put together the pieces of the puzzle on their own. But when I think of the word subtle, I don't think of the Fast and Furious franchise, but that's why we love them and why we decided to make it the grand finale of the studio tour, and this is it, Fast and Furious Supercharged. You're not going to need those 3D glasses right away. I will let you know when to put them on the moment you're going to need them. In the meantime, please make sure that we keep the flash off the cameras and cell phones. Hold on to your belongings and remain seated.
Hey, yo! They just got here. All right, I got it. Well, listen, hello, beautiful people, particularly you right there missing the third row. How you doing? You good? My name is Roman Pierce. Pleased to meet you. My buddy Hobbs asked us to stash you Shaw for a while, so we brought you in our secret spot. We're having a few friends over. It's a little messy, but it's all good. The more the merrier. Especially you right there in that third row, like I was saying. So look, see over there? It's Hobbs' urban assault vehicle. Best truck the U.S. government can buy. That work of art back over there is made by my man Tej. Think of it as like a Mona Lisa on wheels.
Extra. So did you break it down to them?
What's that?
You had one job to do, only one. Alright, look guys, we're gonna keep Shaw from finding you, but to keep you safe, we need your help. We don't want the syndicate tracking us here, so put away your cameras and turn off your cell phones. One flash or one ringtone could give us away.
I need y'all to take this real serious.
Okay, pull into the next bay and meet you there.
So like I was saying, the third row, right? Same comment.
Roman Pierce, FBI, don't move. Neil, that's right, party's over.
You know how long I took to iron this shirt, man? I'm not.
You're under arrest right now.
Ladies, just back up a little bit. I got it. It's lightweight. First of all, I don't work for you.
Oh, really? Well, tell me, Roman, who do you work for?
We don't work for nobody.
suggest you clear out of here, otherwise we can't guarantee your safety.
Guarantee my safety? I'm the one holding the gun.
Yeah, but mine's a whole lot bigger than yours. Escort this novice out.
Let's go, Cookie Puss!
Yeah, ugly suit on, man. It's cheap.
Somebody out there really pissed off Shaw. It's gonna get ugly fast.
Yeah, don't worry. Lucky for you, our whole family protects you.
Are you kidding me, Roman? You didn't shut off your phone, bro?
I gotta call you back. I'm in the middle of something.
See what I'm talking about?
Call you back.
Oh, man.
It was on vibrate.
Sure, trace this. Ops can't hold him forever. Letty, Roman, we're up. Try to move that vehicle.
It's about to get real interesting. My Mona Lisa's all warmed up right next door.
Roman, grab your truck. I need you and Letty ready to roll.
Okay, guys, this is it. Go ahead and put those protective 3D glasses on. As we make our way into this next room, this is when you'll need them. And a reminder to make sure that you have everything off the floor. Bags versus souvenirs, keep it on your lap. Hold on to everything while we're in this building. Keep the flash off the cameras and cell phones, and of course, remain seated.
This is our turn. Okay, guys, it's showtime. Come on, open it up. Let's see it a little faster. Roman, Lenny, hook him up. I got the bullfire on. Now we're moving.
The grand finale of the studio tour, Fast and Furious Supercharged. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us here today at Universal Studios Hollywood, and of course for hanging out here at the world famous Universal Studios tour as well. We're on our way back to the theme park. We'll be there in about a minute or two, so before we officially call it for the tour, I'm going to pass it over one more time to Jimmy Fallon.
Over the past 6 decades, the studio tour has taken guests on an amazing behind-the-scenes look at a movie studio in a way that only Universal can. I hope that you had a great time today, and on behalf of everyone at NBC Universal, thank you for joining us to celebrate our diamond anniversary. Here's to another 60 years.
And thank you guys so much for celebrating 60 years of the world famous Universal Studios tour with us here today. It really was the summer of 1964 that started it all, with 2 glamour trams traveling around the lot, taking 67 passengers around at a time. And from there, we were able to expand into so much more. Theme parks around the world entertaining millions every year. There's another theme park headed its way to the Universal family. It opens next year in Orlando. It's called Universal Epic Universe. The lead consultant of that entire project is Steven Spielberg, so we know it's going to be epic, to say the least. There's a lot of change happening in Hollywood, especially with the way that we're entertained. We're able to watch all of our favorite shows in one day, in one sitting. But what won't change here at Universal is the foundation of the tour. We will continue to show you guys a behind-the-scenes look into the way that movie magic is really put together, especially with the way that we create it here on the Universal lot. So on behalf of those that came before to help make this a world-famous experience, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here today and for being a part of something that's been 60 years in the making. We'll get back to the theme park here in just a few moments. We'll be exiting to the left-hand side. Just give it a beat before we stand up. Wait until one of our studio tour ambassadors comes around to open up the gates just to be on the safe side. Make sure you have all your belongings, watch your step, and have a great rest of your day. Like we say here in Hollywood, that's a wrap.